Dr. S.Y. Quraishi. I'm here from India. I'm going to leave it to Ashok Swain to introduce him. So let me instead introduce Ashok, who, as many of you know, is a professor in Peace and Conflict Department here at Uppsala University. And he will be engaging with Dr. Quraishi a little bit later, but first he will introduce him. So thank you very much, and thanks everyone for being here. And please let me say that afterwards we have a fika, and you're all very invited to stay.
Thank you, Margaret. Thank you. Thank you for coming here. It's not easy to get at least a decent crowd. So thank you first to come here. But let me introduce you Dr. S.Y. Quraishi. Dr. S.Y. Quraishi is the former Chief Election Commissioner of India. India being a country at least 800 million voters, bit more, at least 100 times the population of this country, the voting population. And they don't mess up like Americans do it in Florida. Of course, it has issues, challenges, and you must know that the Chief Election Commissioner takes over almost the power of the country when the election declares. And in India, almost every time there is an election. So that because of the federal government, so several states. So Dr. S.Y. Quraishi was 2 years for Chief Election Commissioner of India. He was the first Muslim to be the Chief Election Commissioner. I mean, of course, it's not extremely difficult to imagine. There are almost 200 million Muslims live in India. But at the same time, we must know that the Muslims' representation in the higher powerful positions are very limited, considering India has a democratic, secular government for the last 72 years. So, and I don't think you were there 2010 to 12 as Chief Election Commissioner, and then we haven't got anyone yet. So you were the first one and the only one.
No, immediately after me there was one more.
Really? Okay, that's okay. So at least you said the trend.
I said the trend.
Thank you. I think Dr. Quraishi was here almost 4.5 years back when India was going to election last time, or India was in the middle of the elections, 2014 May or April you were here. We have got a government in India. I will come back to that government afterwards. But that is the time he was here, and we had discussions about the elections and how the process is going on. Dr. Quraishi keeps coming to Sweden quite often because he also serves as the board of directors of the International IDEA in Stockholm. So he regularly comes here. So I thought that this is a good time that India will soon go to election again. The main election will be early next year. There's a 4.5 years, 5 years, or 4.5 years, more than 5.5 years have already passed. We'll see how what the situation we can come back to this discussion. Dr. Quraishi has also written a very popular book called Undocumented Wonder, The Making of the Great Indian Election. This was published just before the last election and has been quite widely sold while the effort. He's always a regular at the giving media presence. In national media always talks about, at least asks for his advice, how the elections to be, particularly and also in democracy, the whole process in general, what's going on. I will not take much time. I will ask Dr. Quraishi now to speak for 10 to 15 minutes, just to introduce you to this election process, how it takes place, giving a talk election, politics, democracy in India, a little bit, or mostly now he has mostly contributed to the election process. Then I will come back and we will have discussions about the election and also democracy in India in general.
Thank you, Ashok. For the last 2 hours, Ashok has been frightening me about the lack of attendance. he had mentally prepared me, but not realizing that I had fared worse than all that. There was one lecture where when I went there was only 1% in the audience. And but since I had been paid to give that lecture, I had to go through the drill, and at the end of half an hour, and I said, look, I'm now coming to the end of my lecture. The guy in the audience panicked and he said, okay, but please don't go away. I'm the next speaker. So having been used to that, I think it's a fantastic audience. And I'm so delighted that the quality is which matters, even in democracy. So thank you very much for inviting me here after 4.5 years. This is the title of my book, ladies and gentlemen. And this is a lecture I had given only 15 days ago in the National Academy of Administration, Missouri. But in any case, the presentation which I had tailored for this place was 90% the same, just a few issues are different, but we will come to that. We have gone through in the last 68 years 16 general elections to Lok Sabha, which is the parliament, and 360 general elections to the provincial assembly. We have never ever missed the deadline, and which is why we have received international acclaim, including from America, and particularly after Florida fiasco. And as recently as last one, somebody said that we should ask India to conduct American elections. We are considering. We are the most diverse country in the world. All the major religions in the world, 22 official languages, 200 developed languages, 6,000 dialects, geographical diversity, all kinds of weather all the time. What you have in Sweden now, we have in some part of India around the year, and then 50 degrees Celsius in Rajasthan. So we have to deal with all kinds of diversity, and we have to make sure that nobody is left out, and inclusivity becomes a very important word for us. There are legal and constitutional protection to our pluralism, which is occasionally challenged, as maybe happening now, but then those are only aberrations. But eventually, pluralism of India survives. And when we talk of inclusiveness, these are the kind of categories you have to make sure that they get equal chance. Women are our biggest minority, 49%. They suffer from lots of discrimination, and we have to make sure that they get equal right and good, equal facility to vote. Our elections are disabled friendly. 1 million polling stations. Temporarily for a day, we create a ramp for the wheelchair. Every single machine, 2 million of them, we have a braille strip stuck on them so that they can vote. It is illiterate friendly. Even now, 25% of India, which makes it about 300 million people, are illiterate. So they have to be able to read who they are voting for. So we have created the concept of symbols. They may not read the name, but they know the light, the table, chair, the fan. That is what they understand. And recently, we got a representation from transgenders that when they apply and on the form there are only two columns, male or female. They are neither, so what do they write? So they were getting denied this voting right. Believe me, it took us just 1 minute to create a third gender. We thought that 3 million of them, they are important people, they are Indian citizens, why should they not vote? So we decided that we'll create another gender called O, other, male, female, and other, and immediately they got empowered. 4 years later, the case went up to Supreme Court, and Supreme Court also upheld that order, and they created what is now officially called the third gender. Instead of other gender, the third gender. What we did recently was the largest election in world history, 834 million voters, about 1 million polling stations, and nearly 2 million voting machines. 11 million polling personnel were deployed. They're our staff, and they're all government servants. Normally considered inefficient, lazy and corrupt, but then when they come under the election commission, they deliver. And they deliver a zero error election without any doubt. So that's the skill. And of course, we have hundreds of parties, thousands of parties. We have more water than every continent on this planet. In fact, we are 90 countries rolled into one. And the complexity of 90 countries rolled into one. Anything which is happening anywhere, we have some happening somewhere in India. While we have 834 million voters, which was 4 years ago, this election probably will be going with 1 billion voters. So, but we also have a polling station with a single voter. He is a temple priest in Gir Forest of Gujarat. For him, a polling party of 6 goes a day before, sets up the polling station. Next morning, we wait for him to come, whatever time he chooses. Last time he came at 2 o'clock, we waited. And even after he has voted, we cannot pack up and go, because theoretically somebody may come later and challenge his vote and saying that he was a bogus voter, I'm the real voter. So we wait till 5 o'clock for the rest of the country. And we have to have the very open relationship with all the stakeholders, political parties particularly. We have to deal with them all the time. We are available to them at even 15-minute notice if they have any grievance. We talk to civil society, we talk to NGOs, and 11 million staff, they are not our permanent staff. Our permanent staff is just 400. It's only for election that we take human service on deputation, train them, and employ them. So mobilization of staff is one of the most tricky jobs. They are considered on deputation while they are on election duty, which means we can post them where we want, we can suspend them if they misbehave. We are their controlling authority for all purposes. Neutrality, if you see the last bullet, is absolutely non-negotiable. Then we have to make sure that we check intimidation, violence and fraud, which was the order of the day. Till about 15-20 years ago, 100 murders on the poll day was quite common. All kinds of poll violence is now zero. That is history. We have how we've controlled it is a story in itself. How we keep an eye, we take advance action, we do vulnerability mapping of the area. Who are the people who are likely to threaten the election? Their father, their grandfather, their history. Who are the people they're going to threaten? Everything is on our radar, and we have about 75,000 video cameras chasing them all around all the time, and digital cameras too. Scheduling of election is an important activity. We have to make it very voter friendly so that nobody is inconvenienced. Examination days are holy cow, agricultural cycle. If it is a festival, even a minor local festival somewhere, it has to be on our radar, and we have to make sure that nobody is inconvenienced and they can come easily. Communication is extremely important, and we are always learning. One of the secrets of our success is we are always learning. Somewhere, some young officer experiments and we like the idea and we make it an all-India thing. So, how this young man identified 6 telephones, 3 landline in a village, 3 mobile phone, and he tried all 6 of them in previous evening to say they're all working. And if any one of them and all of them fail, then which is the nearest police wireless? And if the police wireless fails, what is the nearest satellite phone? All that is lined up so that the failure of communication is not our option. And this has helped us a lot. If you see the last bullet again, it has been a deterrent for troublemakers. And in some cases, like in one case in Maharashtra, in Gadchiroli, which is a Maoist affected district, through this communication network, we got to know that the Maoists are going to ambush a polling party which was returning. So, timely information, we sent our helicopters flying, and then those guys ran away. Otherwise, there could have been a big massacre. EVM, electronic voting machines, we call the wonder machine of Indian democracy. A lot of debate keeps going on ever since we introduced them in 1982. And we have withstood the test of time. And I'm sure there will be questions on this, and I'll explain our stand on that. If you see the last bullet, that is the latest development in the EVM front. We have created voter verifiable paper audit trail. In other words, a printer is now attached with the machine. A slip is generated, a paper slip, so that you can count and cross-check the two figures. Model code is one of the interesting instruments of good election. This is not a law of the land, it's a voluntary code of conduct developed by the political parties for themselves. It is working very well, it lays down minimum standards of behavior, they won't disturb each other's meeting, they will not indulge in hate speech, no appeal to communal and caste slogans, and so on. And then another important feature is the checks on the party in power. The party in power is completely neutralized. All the powers are taken away, which is what Ashok was hinting at, that the power switches to election commission. They cannot take a single decision without first asking her. Otherwise, what they used to do on the eve of election, all the bright ideas for new schemes will come to them. They will announce a new scheme to seduce the voters. That has been stopped altogether. They are totally denied all the power they were used to. Their flag cards are taken away. Their beacon on their car, which is a status symbol, they are taken away. They cannot use personal staff on duty. They cannot combine political campaign and official duty. So this is one thing which makes us very unpopular with the government of the day, which has appointed us. We use all kinds of technology, latest technology. We are a technology superpower for every activity, every operation, except voting. Voting, we deliberately use 17th century technology of an elementary calculator by choice. Because otherwise, as you know, globally there is a complaint that they can be hacked. Voter education is something which I started because I had some communication background. My PhD was in communication, and when I joined the Election Commission in 2006, I was election commissioner for 4 years and then chief for another 2. So very first week I said that 20% voter turnout and 25% turnout in some places is not acceptable. And I was asked to mind me my business. They said, educating voters is not our job. Our job is to conduct election, manage election. And I contested. I said nothing doing. It is very much our job. If the turnout is very low, with 10%, 12% vote, you can win the election. Even Prime Minister Modi came with a very large number. Actually, got 31% popular vote. 69% did not vote for him. So in such a situation, when 10% or 15% people can return to power, you are not actually representing everyone. Legitimacy comes in. So we set up a voter education division. We have been motivating voters to come, and it has created history of participation revolution. And every election in 2010 has given us historic turnout. We also created National Voter Day. This was born in your state, Ashok. I'd gone to Bhubaneswar where I was talking to a civil society group, where somebody in the audience raised his hand and said that 18 years when you become an adult is a special age which should be celebrated. I said that's a very good statement. Let us think of a celebration. Within a week, we came up with what turned out to be the biggest youth empowerment program of the world. Another Odia was in charge of this, Dr. Bhagwan Prakash, I don't know if you heard of him. He was a youth expert, I put him on the job. And every 25th of January, we decided we'll celebrate as National Voters Day, where new voters will be celebrated. Anybody who has become 18 from the last year will be identified beforehand, will be enrolled in the electoral roll, photos taken, voter card made, and in 800,000 functions simultaneously in the country at every booth level on 25th January, the new voters were given their voter card. So, and in fact, this is an interesting case study in the sense that when I developed this idea, I wrote a letter to the cabinet secretary in October, somewhere in the middle of October, that we are going to celebrate National Voters Day. please ask all the ministries and all the state governments to extend necessary cooperation. And I forgot about all these letters. October, November, December, January, all gone. 19th of January, 6 days before the National Voters' Day, I get a call from the Cabinet Secretary. Quraishi, your proposal for National Voters' Day is coming before the Cabinet today. Now the moment he used the word proposal to something which I have already done, my heart sank. And then he said, there are two questions. One, do you want a national holiday? And how much money do you need? I said, I don't want a holiday and I don't need a single rupee. So he was taken aback. He says, you don't want a single rupee? What nonsense. You said you were going to do 800,000 public functions and no rupee. I said, yes, I know what I'm talking about because registering voters is my job anyway. I do it around the year. I'm just converting a normal activity into an event. I use the same money for this purpose. I don't need any money. This must be the only proposal by the Union Cabinet, which was done on a 11-line letter. Normally 20 ministries are involved in a cross exchange of ideas and comments and legal implications, security implications, this, that and the other. Nothing of the sort. This was a simple idea. They loved it, and we now celebrate National Day. And 9th or 10th National Day will be celebrated in the coming January. Incidentally, 25th of January as different from 26th January, which is our Republic Day. The Indian Election Commission was born a day before India was born as a republic. That was the significance which the framers of the Constitution wanted to give to the Election Commission. Now, having said all the good things, we have issues of concern, which probably brings us to the topic which Ashok had suggested. We have money power. Money is playing a huge role. When I became the Chief Election Commissioner in July 2010, in my inaugural press conference, I had given myself two challenges. One, voter apathy. Second, the money power. Voter apathy I dealt with by creating a voter education division and a huge number of programs of all kinds to motivate voters to come out. And we set up an expenditure monitoring division with a Director General brought in from Income Tax Department. We had initially great success. In fact, in my book, I have listed 40 modus operandi of cheating which these guys do in the election, but those are the 40 modus operandi which we had detected till then. They must have come up with many more. They are always ahead of crime is always ahead. Then criminalization of electoral politics. We have so many MPs, 1/3 of members of parliament or legislators have criminal cases pending against them. In many cases, multiple cases, in many cases, heinous offences, including rape, dacoity, murder, kidnapping. We have been demanding that those against whom cases are pending, conviction or in any case disqualifies them. But even when the cases are pending, they should be debarred from contesting election. Then rumors, social media is becoming a major problem. Youth apathy, urban apathy, I've already mentioned. And now some current debates are EVM and VVPAT, whether electoral bonds have been introduced last year, whether that is a good thing. The Prime Minister has demanded simultaneous election, what are the pros and cons. Image of EC, whether it has taken a beating in the last couple of years, where I recommend a collegium, appointment of all commissioners through a collegium. We are just appointed by the government of the day, which is very ironical because the most powerful election commission in the world has the most defective system of appointment. Just the government of the day appoints anybody. Now, even if I try to be neutral, which we all try to do, but somebody may say that you are a government appointee, therefore you will be kind and nice to them. It's not a very pleasant thought. So I don't like it. We would rather that the leader of opposition is also signatory to our appointment. Now, none of the above is something which we have already introduced under the court order. And now a debate is also going on whether the first part, the post system, which has been going on for 70 years, is a good system or we should have a proportional representation system. So these are some of the issues. But incidentally, just a factoid that between two elections, 2009 and 14, 118 million voters were added in just in 5 years, which is like adding a South Africa and a South Korea together, or 3 Canadas, 4 Australias, 10 Portugal, and 20 Finland. I think
we will tell about Sweden.
I don't know how many Sweden.
17, 16, 17.
Now, new media, the last the election was the first social media election. BJP was much in the lead, but other parties have also now there. These are very interesting statistics. For another sidelight, we have green elections. We have something which we were not even aware of till our speaker Meera Kumar in one speech pointed out, and then we came up with this figure. After every election, we save 11,000 tons of paper, which means that 280,000 trees would have been cut otherwise. Billions of gallons of water, then power, the money saved, then noise reduction because we control loudspeakers and decibel level. Defacement of all properties is totally banned. Vehicular processions, which used to have 500 or 1,000 vehicles in an election rally, have been reduced to 10. And no plastic at all. And mind you, none of these is election laws. These are normal laws of the land, except they are violated with impunity on the year. When we come in the picture, we just enforce them. Lessons learned. We plan manually, screen and randomize the staff. Then we delegate generously, and effective monitoring for timely action, neutrality at all times, learn from mistakes, leave no source of posterity. These are some of the headlines. Well begun, routinely. A good election is no longer news, actually a bad election would be. The New York Times called it the greatest show on earth. Financial Times, Indian voters show the way forward. This is the longest thing I'll skip. Just a few pictures and I'll run through. These are some of the ways polling parties go to those places. Like in deep forest, you can go no other way except on elephant back. In desert, you see take camel. Somewhere helicopters, train. Here you see our former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh and his wife. They are showing a finger which has been marked so that they cannot go and vote in another booth. Now even the Prime Minister is not spared. The democracy is a leveler. And you will notice Prime Minister from his expression, he is not complaining. He is normally very economical with a smile, and in his case he is smiling. So very proudly smiles. This is a story of how, just 37 voters when we were dealing with 130 million voters, we were worried about only 2 polling stations in Ladakh because our helicopters could not land. How a polling party on feet went there for 4 days, they walked for 4 days in knee-deep snow to cover the election. This is when the polling parties are coming, and we are now examining all the documents, on which basis tomorrow morning we will decide whether some repoll will be required. Repoll is our last weapon. Because once we have announced the result, the power shifts to the judiciary. That's why we delay the result till we are satisfied that every election was held correctly. Now this is a former President of India. She also has to carry an ID card. And you will notice she is also not protesting, very proudly holding it. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is a quiz. One of them is a losing Chief Minister, the other winning Chief Minister. Can you guess who? Now this is a great statement on the quality of our election. If a picture says 1,000 words, this one does. Why they are like this? They are friendly because they trust the election. If one of them felt cheated, this is not how they would be sitting. Same 2 gentlemen after the election. Oh, you win, I lose. So what? I'll try my next. After the election, whatever may have been said in the speeches, Prime Minister Modi goes to Prime Minister Manmohan Singh with a bouquet, and they compare notes, and then they have a very smooth changeover of power. And this is how election comes when the new the government comes into being. Thank you very much.